time to do that.
You're welcome back to the gavel. Now, the Senate and the House of Representatives during the week suspended plenary to allow lawmakers more time to scrutinize the budgets of government ministries, departments and agencies. So, during the week, we saw different MDAs bring their budget proposals to the National Assembly.
In the past 2 weeks, the Senate and the House of Representatives have been working on the 2014 budget. Part of the budget process requires that government ministries, departments and agencies bring their budgets to the National Assembly for scrutiny and then final appropriation. But the Senate Committee on Environment did not wait for the Ministry of Environment to come to them. Rather, committee members have come to the ministry to get answers to some worrying questions.
Pictures are here with me, and these are projects that are in the budget. They have been slated in the budget. Funds have been released according to the submissions you have all given to us. Yet, these contractors have not received a single naira.
The Minister of Environment was away on official assignment, so it was up to the Permanent Secretary to explain how much was appropriated for the ministry in 2013.
Less than 300 million was released to this ministry last year, where we were able to realize 268 million. I repeat this, sir. This ministry can generate 1 billion annually as revenue. But if we are fully funded. If we are not giving money now to start mobilizing to contractor to sign, we find it difficult, sir. When it is in September, that is then money is appropriated, June, July, money is appropriated, there is no budget is approved. We don't know which project. Already now, we have developed the template to our work contract for 2014. We'll be going to the press by next week. But we cannot award the contract until the budget is approved, so that we don't run foul of the law.
But midway, the attention of lawmakers was drawn to a project in Kogi State, which the Permanent Secretary had said was completed.
I want you to reconfirm, even if anything has been done there in this place, because this is my area, and I'm aware of this place. So I want to know exactly what is the status of this place. I'm telling you very categorically that this 95% or indeed work there is questionable.
Also during the week, ministries, departments and agencies of government continue to storm the National Assembly to defend their budget proposals. The Senate Committee on Aviation was not entirely satisfied with the budget proposal of the Ministry of Aviation. The chairman of the committee sought to know why the ministry did not include the $500 million Chinese Exim loan collected for the construction of 4 terminals in their 2014 budget.
All the Exim Bank's loan from China in power, in railway, everything are captured in the appropriation. Aviation cannot be exception. And besides, it's a loan. It's money borrowed by federal government. It's not federal government spending it. And the only way government can spend their money is through appropriation.
We'll do that.
It is important because when you begin to say that the aviation is spending 23 billion, we don't think it's correct. Because the $500 million is part of is our money. Government is spending it, and Nigerians must know that government is not spending this money that is borrowed.
Nigeria's aviation sector has been through some abrupt changes in leadership recently, with the sack of the Minister of Aviation, Stella Odua, and other key heads of aviation parastatals. Away from the Senate, the budget defense continued in the House of Representatives. The Ministry of Aviation and its agencies were also before the House of Representatives. The House Committee on Agriculture received the Minister of Agriculture in the session. The minister gave a breakdown of the budget of the ministry.
The total budget proposed in terms of the budget is 36.2 billion, and it is distributed. Mr. Chairman, the paper is the total is 36.26 billion. 2014 budget proposal. The amount that was allocated for capital projects was 28.2 billion, which is 78% of the total allocation. My ministry is allocating to overhead costs only 337 million, which is 0.93%, less than 1% of our budget is going to overhead.
The House Committee on Sports also met with the Director General of the National Sports Commission. Speaking afterwards, he spoke on the need for timely release of funds to help ensure good outing for the country's sportsmen and women.
We always want to appeal for timely release of funds so that we can prepare for our competitions, we can have enough to do camping, we can have enough to take care of the athletes, and we can have enough to at least to go to competitions and bring laurels to the country. So we still continue to appeal. That's the way it is. When we say money, you need to prosecute World Cup. It's a massive thing, all right? You start preparing, not just competition proper, that's a different ballgame. But before you go, for instance, our boys play Mexico in the US. They just came back. It's a preparatory match for the World Cup. There are several others. Then again, they will go to camping, and this camp has to be in a foreign land. You prefer accommodation in foreign land. So naturally, we are good to go because we have a president who is listening.
The chairman of the House Committee on Climate Change was clearly displeased with the allocation proposed for climate change in the budget, a position he made clear when the committee met with the Ministry of Environment on the 2014 budget.
Nigeria has its priorities elsewhere. We can glean from the power trade budgetary estimates that we still, regardless of what people advise, what experts advise, and regardless of the effort that we have made to persuade this country to look in that direction, that is not yet a concern to our country and government, which is very, very sad.
Many Nigerians have said the budget defense exercise in the National Assembly has assumed the status of a yearly ritual, where ministries present almost the same budget as previous years and more often than not cannot account for how the funds appropriated for projects were utilized. But some others put the blame on federal lawmakers for failing to properly oversight these agencies, saying these lapses could have been spotted earlier.
The fun starts right here on Metrofile.
The meeting point for who's who on the social scene. Exquisite events. Elegance. And a rich display of colors. Glamour at its height. On Metrofile, we bring that extra touch of class to your events, celebrating people and their achievements. You can only enjoy the non-stop action every Friday, 11 p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Saturday, 12 noon. Metrofile. Glitz and glamour.
On Monday, the 10th of March, President Goodluck Jonathan did the groundbreaking ceremony of the second Niger Bridge. We spoke with a federal lawmaker from Anambra State, Senator Marjorie Okadibo, who told us what the project means to the people of Anambra State. Now, on Monday, President Jonathan did the groundbreaking ceremony of the second Niger Bridge. Some people have said that it took a while coming. What do you think about the event?
Probably it did take a long time coming, yes. But then I think anything doing is worth doing well. And we did hear the president say himself that he didn't want a situation where he would start the groundbreaking or perform the groundbreaking and get stuck because the funds are not available. And he wanted start, and finish. So I think basically the funds have been the issue. And now that we have a pretty good idea where the funds are going to be coming from, it makes it a lot easy, to start and finish.
Some skeptics have said the whole groundbreaking of the second Niger Bridge is a political strategy by the president, and this is not the first time he's promising to see to the construction of a second Niger Bridge. Do you share this opinion?
No, I don't. I think this time it's for real. And I think this time, because a lot of things have been put in place, before now, it wasn't quite determined what would be the building, the project plan. Now it's been decided, it's accepted, it's a PPP project. And the source for the Nigerian funding has also been determined. It's coming from the Shopee funds. Coincidentally, and I think for all good purpose, I'm on the committee for the Shopee. So I know that the funds are going to be coming from Shopee. I know that the first tranche from the Shopee funds is on the budget, in the process. So I know the funds are there. So it's no longer a political slogan. I think it's more like a political fulfillment of a promise made. And I'm quite positive about it.
Now, you're on the committee on Shopee, and we know that one of the projects which the Shopee committee has been looking at, or the Shopee as it's on its own has been looking at, is the construction of, or the finishing of the East-West Road. Now, we're aware of some of the problems which that project has encountered. Are you afraid that this second Niger Bridge will share the same fate as the East-West Road?
No, I don't, because it's a project that has private investors. And we're looking at a contractor as Julius Berger. And we know that Julius Berger is not a run-of-the-mill kind of company. Julius Berger have started. When we went for the groundbreaking, it wasn't just barren virgin land we were looking at. We actually saw equipment on site. The piling equipment's already on site. They are doing the piling. So it's not, in my opinion, it's a layman opinion, all right, but I think it's not, this time around, it's not going to be this way because it's a PPP. We're not looking at Nigeria doing all the funding. There's the Nigerian funding, and then there's the private funding.
Now, away from the second Niger Bridge, looking at the budget for the past 3 weeks, the National Assembly, both houses have been scrutinizing the budgets of the ministries, departments, and agencies. Now, this is your first tenure in the National Assembly. What are your thoughts on the budget defense process and the entire budgeting process as it is?
I think the first thing we notice in the budget defense is in the release of funds. That's a major one, because we have funds appropriated for certain projects, especially capital projects, and you find that some of the releases don't come. Some come, but very slow, far into the quarter before the releases come. And that, of course, leads to a lot of abandoned, well, not really abandoned, but ongoing projects. So you find that every year, in the two budgets preparations have been involved, we have a lot of ongoing projects, more than we have the new projects. And that could be because of the slow release in funds. So that's a major one. Of course, the second thing is that oftentimes we don't start this very early. By the time you do the budget defenses, you've already done 1 quarter into the year. So the funds get released from about the second quarter. And there's always an overlap, when that happens. And it affects the projects, obviously. So those are the kind of things that I have witnessed in the projects. Then, again, maybe also because of the lateness in the release, a lot of these projects gets abandoned, for the rest of the year. So that also is a problem. So those are the kind of things that I do see. It's in the lateness of the start and the overlaps in the quarterly releases.
Some have said that the defense of the budget, when these MDAs come to the National Assembly every year, is beginning to look like an aimless ritual. Do you agree with this?
Well, no, I don't. I mean, the whole idea of coming for this budget defense is, like you said, is that we like to see performances from the previous year. And it is only from the performances that you know what the issues are in the different MDAs. Of course, as a legislative body, we have the power of oversight, and this is why we have the committees, so that these committees can go out and actually oversight to see that monies appropriated are indeed being directed in the, in the appropriate projects. So I don't think there's no way you can know if the funds are actually being used without having this yearly performance report. It's not all about coming to defend the budget for the year that is current. It also has a lot to do with the performance of the previous year.
Now, I've heard some Nigerians even blame, even the Senate President had even talked about it, about putting the blame for the, when these MDAs come to the National Assembly and we see lapses in the budget, areas where monies have been appropriated for projects and were not used, that this could have been dealt with earlier if this committee is properly oversighted these MDAs.
Well, much as I'm reluctant to agree with you, but that is, part of it, the oversight. And oftentimes, the Senate President himself reminds us that it is our duty to go out and, have this oversight done, and done thoroughly, not just to do a paper over of whatever is presented. Now, you and I know that there's so much that goes on in the MDAs. There's a whole lot that goes on there. And it is, again, only when we have these defenses, when we bring them before the committee and the public, because we have the media watching. So it is only when you bring them before that you're able to really dig in to know what's going on.
In your opinion, what should the National Assembly do to properly oversight MDAs?
If you ask me, and a lot of us senators have said so, I think the National Assembly as a body needs to have its own budget office. I think we need to have that budget office to be able to kind of have a balance on what comes out from the MDAs. So it's not something that we are faced with at the end of the year. I think the budget office in the National Assembly should be pretty much part of what's the process coming from the MDAs. And I think that will help because it will put the National Assembly a few steps ahead so that we also are on the same page by the time they come for their budget defenses.
Now, this is where we draw the curtains for this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views or opinions on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us, and see you again next week.